This installment of LifeClub, we launched LifeSessions with Sunni and me. It's a glimpse into our weekly phone calls when we speak about love, life, and pretty much everything in between. Tune in as we speak about the power of vision, how to manifest your destiny, and how to pursue purpose when no one else is believing with you. We laugh, we cry, and grow together on this episode of Life Club. I'm Tashima Jones. Welcome to Life Club. I genuinely believe personal development unlocks the door to the abundant and wonderful life we all already have. I also believe we must be intentional about seeking out that life in order to find and fulfill it. I am so grateful your journey of discovery has led you all the way here. Let's keep moving forward together. Once again, welcome to Life Club with me, Tashima Jones. Hey, Tashima Jones here. You are tuned into Life Club with Tashima Jones and my homegirl Sunni on the boards. I can't tell you how good that feels to say each and every time we are here. So every now and then we'll have what we call life sessions. It's where Sunni and I chop it up about life. Today we are focusing on the power of vision. Having a vision is super important when it comes to living a full and adventurous life. It's key in fulfilling destiny and making your mark. So, piggybacking off of what you said about starting now, I think oftentimes people have the vision, they just don't start. And that is really the most important step that we can take to kind of get the wheels going and starting out the process. I want to speak a little bit about vision boards. Right. It's super popular. And they're said to, impact the obtaining of your goal, your desired results. And just taking a page from my personal life, when I really decided to create a vision board, I decided to make that vision reflect what I wanted to feel on the inside, how I wanted to think. I wanted peace, I wanted happiness, I wanted joy. And it took me a while to recognize that the things that I accomplish or obtain on the outside don't necessarily manifest those internal treasures. Right. So my first vision board actually was stemmed from this vision that I had of my ancestor, Miss Harriet Tubman. So I'm in prayer, I'm in meditation, and I have this vision when I'm like in a room, in the actual room that I was meditating in, and she said, "What do you want in your room, child?" Ooh. And I said, "What do you mean?"
That's deep.
She said, "What do you want in your room, child?" And then I started saying, I want finances. I want the relationship. I want this. And she sternly stopped me and said, "What do you want in your room, child?" And it was in that moment that I recognized that my room was my temple.
Yes.
And it wasn't about obtaining these things that do not sustain life, because anything dead cannot sustain life. Right. And anything dead cannot sustain you because you are life. Right. So in that moment, I recognized that it was an internal vision that I had to manifest first. And what I realized along that journey was that internal vision will then manifest all of the material things and all the material blessings that are there for us in this earth. So my vision board had, just being healthy. It had being happy, and it had mostly words and not pictures. Right. It had having a healthy brain, having, wholeness in my body, being well, being a great mom, loving my son, loving myself. It had all of these things that truly not only make up life itself, but manifest so many things in the natural. Because one thing we have to recognize is that all things that are in the natural are stemmed from something spiritual. Right. Our words, our thoughts, those things beget our actions and our behaviors. And then those behaviors and those actions beget results. So having a vision truly starts with how you want to be on the inside of you. Because what I've learned, especially just in corporate America, and just being around people who have these material possessions, and even myself having material possessions and achieving certain things in culture and in the world, I recognize that those things don't really sustain your happiness.
Right.
So it was in that moment where I recognized that first, the vision has to start within yourself. And then once you get anchored, which that is your anchor,
Right.
your soul, your spirit, that is your anchor. Once you get there, the journey has already begun.
Right.
And then anything happening outside of you is only the product of who you are on the inside.
So let's talk about that. Like, once you get to the part where you actually can say, I get it now. I know this is the way I'm supposed to manifest, or this is the way I'm supposed to visualize things that I actually desire. What steps do you take then to actually start to cultivate and manifest it? What do you do after you get the vision? What's the next step?
So for what I would say is knowing where your vision comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things is that we try to recreate a vision that doesn't necessarily reflect our vision for us. So you have a vision. I think you have to filter it through what you were created to do and your purpose. And that's also a part of the vision. A lot of it is really developing an understanding of identity and purpose.
Okay.
And oftentimes, for example, I say, when I was in high school, going into college, I wanted to study psychology. Like, that was what I wanted to do. But the culture said go into technology. Culture said go into computer science. And well-meaning people in my life suggested that. Not many women are in computer science. Not many black women are in computer science. And it can yield tons of money. So after getting a C in computer science and not really being happy about it, I was like, you know what? This is not for me. So I say that to say, you have a vision, you know that there's purpose, you know that there's destiny. Filtering that through the creator's way of doing things, filtering that through who you truly are and not who you want to be, think you should be, or who society tells you should be. Because a lot of people are chasing somebody else's story.
Right.
And then you find yourself unfulfilled, tired, and worn out. It's because you don't have that grace to fulfill somebody else's destiny.
Back to crawl, walk, run. There's steps through the process. You can't skip steps or look at someone else's, finish line and say, I want to get there.
And that's perfect. Because what I would say the next step is deciding to never give up. And you have to make that decision in the beginning of the journey. Because if you don't, you will never really make it. And sometimes people think that decision comes when it's hard times. No, that decision comes once you discover the vision and you decide to pursue it.
Right.
It's never given up. And I go to the story of a baby. Like, in my mind, anytime that I think about giving up, and that feeling has really shifted to where it's not even an option anymore.
Right.
But I go to a baby. You cradle this baby, you nurse this baby is growing, developing, they start crawling, and then that next step is walking.
Right.
Now, this baby that you love, that you carried in your womb, that you nursed to be, 9 months to a year, is starting to walk. When that baby falls the first time, do you say, okay, baby, I'm not going to even put you on the floor anymore. I'm going to carry you for the rest of my life. You're not going to do that. Right. Number one, because you know this baby is destined to walk. And number two, in order for you to start walking, you're going to fall sometimes. So instead of us thinking about giving up at times when it's challenging, you need to put yourself in the mindset of that 9-month-old. And that 9-month-old to 12-month-old could be you or could be your child. And if your child falls, you're not going to handicap that child by telling them, no, you fell.
Child, what do you want in your room?
What do you want in your room, child?
Yes.
I want to walk. I want to run. I want to leap. I want to flip. So I would say that finding the vision, discovering your purpose, filtering it through your true purpose. If anybody knows me, they know one of my goals in life, one of my dreams is to sing. But you know what? If that's not my gift or my calling, I will sing in the shower as I do happily.
Listen.
So accepting that purpose, accepting that vision, accepting the call on your life and being okay with it. And then moving forward to that commitment to never giving up. So much of starting and so much of these steps are really mental.
Right.
Because the physical labor, oftentimes it's so easy, but it's getting our minds in the right position to accept the call and then pursue it.
And a lot of times we psych ourselves out and we say how hard it's going to be prior to ever taking a step to doing anything. How do you know? Have you done it? And even if it's something you ventured into doing before, in life, there's cycles. And maybe you're meeting something again for a reason for you to tackle it again versus giving up. So again, push forward, start now, see the vision, action, take those steps and actually make it happen. So you brought up a good point when you were mentioning what happens when you don't allow the vision to kind of cultivate, right? What do you think happens when you stifle it, when you allow fear or worry to kind of stop you from pushing forward? What happens to the vision? Does it wrinkle up and die like a raisin?
The vision will always be the vision, but the person carrying the vision will suffocate. And what I mean by that is that you're never going to find fulfillment in doing anything else other than what you were called to do. And there's something that Pastor R.C. Blakes Jr., I heard him saying. He said that so many people are failing successfully. So many people are successful failures. They succeed in that living a certain life that's not theirs. So they may have, the great job, the great home, the great family. But if they're not fulfilling their purpose and their call, they're failing at what they were truly meant to do. So I think the more important thing to do is ask yourself, why aren't you pursuing the vision? Questioning yourself, is this fear? Is this doubt? Is this disbelief? Question yourself, because that's the other thing. Some people get the vision, they know their purpose, and then they feel so guilty for not pursuing it. Right. You feel guilty. Oh, it's like you said, there's this feeling of being haunted by the vision. And instead of feeling guilty about it, question yourself.
Right.
Go into prayer, go into meditation, and question, why am I not pursuing this? Because that's the other thing about vision. Again, so much of it is internal before anything ever truly manifests on the outside. And when it comes to vision, you have to have it. You have to write it down, make it plain. You have to choose and commit to never giving up, filtering it through your true identity and your true purpose in life. And then what you have to do is build in character and humility and belief in yourself and confidence, frankly, from me and God. Right. And God's ability to sustain you while you're on the process of fulfilling it. So it's so important for us to not only believe in the vision, but believe in our ability to make it come to pass, to co-create, with the Creator, and allowing that thing to manifest itself. And so much of it, again, I say, the vision will always remain. You cannot change the book. Black Panther is produced. It's out there. You cannot go back and rewrite that script. It is already created.
Right. It's a done deal.
It's already created. But you have to believe in the story. You have to believe in the call. You have to believe in the purpose. So much of it is just getting your mind and your heart right. You see so many people who have great talent, they have great opportunities, and it's screwed up by bad choices, right, by bad decisions, by not being fully functional within themselves. And sometimes it's just a lack of confidence. Right. Sometimes it's not even like you don't want to do it. Sometimes it's I'm afraid to do it. So going through those challenges, questioning yourself about, for example, I'll pull from another page of my book. I was given the opportunity to kind of produce a show, an event. And I got the phone call from somebody in New York, and this specific event was out in Georgia. This person couldn't make it. And I was given the opportunity to actually go and manage it. So from the day I got that call until maybe like a week after that, the moment I got that call, I started to work against my fears. I went and knocked on people's doors, gave them business cards. And again, this process had nothing to do with this event, but it had everything to do with my fear of public speaking,
Right.
my fear, and insecurity about
Rejection.
maybe rejection,
Right.
all of these things, and having to manage an event that included celebrities. Like, who am I? I had
Tashima
to.
Jones.
Amen. Look, you threw me off right there,
Sorry,
but thank you for
sorry.
that. But I had to go against those fears. I had to position myself in a space that I could actually be okay and be confident. And we have to do those things. We have to ask the big questions, and then we have to be open and willing to discovering those answers. And we have to be willing to look in the mirror and say, not even judging ourselves, but starting that healing process of whatever it is that's holding you back and that's hindering you. And usually the root is always found in identity and confidence. Because you can know who you are all day long, but if you don't have the confidence to fulfill that purpose, it'll stay dormant. So again, just going back to that space on the inside of you and pursuing it regardless of fear. And it becomes fun if you look at it from that perspective. It becomes, okay, I am so afraid of this. I remember, being in school, taking swimming classes, and we had to jump off of a diving board. And it was not the easiest thing to do. But once you're standing on the diving board, you can look at it and say, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. Or, oh my gosh, I am going to do this.
Take that leap.
And when you do it and you jump and your feet hit the bottom 6 feet down and you're able to push back up, it's the greatest feeling in the world because you just defeated a fear.
Right.
And that can be the fun part in pursuing that vision regardless of the fear.
Right.
That
was
felt
dope.
good.
It was. I saw you on the board, and that push up is really your bounce back. When you defeat your fears and you say, you know what, I'm pushing back. I'm not going to let you stop me. You won't stifle me. I'm going to push forward. I think anyone who was ever successful, if you hear them tell their story, part of the things that they mentioned was still having that fear, even in success, and being able to push past it. The fear never leaves you. And that's the trick that you have to allow your mind to really receive, is that you will always have a fear. There will always be something that kicks up and says, ooh, don't do it. But the ones who win are the ones who push past it, the ones who take the dive, the ones who take the leap, and they go anyway. Because it's not about fear. Is there. It's an emotion. The same way you could be happy. You could be fearful of something, right? What do you do with it, though? You going to let it stifle you?
And it's so interesting because when it comes to this idea of fear, it's almost like a vision of vapor. Like there's fog trying to cause doubt and confusion and keep you frozen. But it's fog.
It's not real.
It's fog, and then what we have to realize is that fear is real.
Right.
But just like faith, fear is manifested. So based on the decision you make to move into the direction of faith or fear, like you decide which direction you take. And I think we have to recognize that it's not natural. It's all spiritual.
Right.
And thoughts are spiritual. Like outside of religion, outside of certain beliefs, thoughts are spiritual. I'm going to say that again. Thoughts are spiritual. You can sit in a room and not talk and have a whole entire conversation in your mind. You can hear stuff without actually hearing it with your natural ear. Thoughts are spiritual. And we manifest those thoughts through our decision to think about them long enough to where they become a produced behavior. And the amazing thing about that is when you take a vision and you have it in your mind and you meditate on it long enough and you get excited on the inside of you, you will move in the direction of that vision. And that's the beautiful thing. I think oftentimes we focus so much on the negative and the have-nots and what we can't do. But that same energy can be designated to what is on the inside of us that is good, that is pure, that is of noble report. And when you do that, it's amazing. And I play this game with myself. So in my mind, I'm like, I want a cup of tea and that cute mug that I just got. Like, I want a cup of tea. So I sit there on the couch and I'm thinking about this cup of tea. So then I get up, I make a decision on the inside based on this thought, based on this desire to get up and start to brew my tea. And that small process of thinking and desiring and then getting up and walking and doing is the same thing that is applied to our visions. You have the thoughts, you have the desire, you have the tools, and then you act on it. And it's so simple, but we make it so hard, like Lauryn Hill would say.
That's why she's the queen.
Yes, ma'am. This feels so good.
Yes. Power of vision. We touched on a lot of battles that people face within themselves when it comes to dealing with their vision, or even being able to, identify what their vision should be and the barriers that try to pull you back from that. But we also want to talk about some of the people around you that may not see your vision. What do you do when you're surrounded by people that basically don't believe in your vision, and they kind of don't even get why you would even believe you have the power to manifest the things that you desire?
That is like the other half of the battle, if you will. And I learned early on not to try to get people to co-sign on my purpose and on my vision. Number one was this phase that I went through in my whole, spiritual rehab, where I was prompted to continue to forgive. And I'm like, who am I withholding, forgiveness from? Like, I'm not in, any issue. I'm not having issues with people. I'm trying to love everybody. But there was this consistent meditation of forgiveness. And as I pursued the journey, I recognized how many people, I don't want to say I lost them, but how many people I grew apart from, and how many people expressed their issue with where I was in my life. And there's a scripture that says, forgive them for they know not what they do. And people literally don't always know what they're doing. You have well-intended people in your life who tell you, oh girl, no, you better get a job. Oh no, you can't go back to school, or you can't do this. And they really sincerely mean well, but they don't understand that those intentions aren't really constructive and encouraging for the journey of your life's purpose. So first and foremost, get used to forgiving people. Get used to forgiving people.
That's a big one.
Get used to forgiving people, because they some people really do not know. And part of the reason why they don't know is because the vision was given to you.
Right.
The vision was given to you. So how, Steve Jobs couldn't go around telling everybody, yo, I got this vision of this situation. We're going to call it Apple. We're going to have I this, I that. Like, he could not share that vision with everybody. He just couldn't.
They would think he was crazy.
And rightfully so, because the vision wasn't given to them. And I've had people say that I literally need to be institutionalized. Like, I've had those things spoken to me. And again, you just go back to forgiveness. They really don't understand. Right. And then the other part of that is, I believe it's intentional. For me, I was very codependent, and I was a super, super duper, self-proclaimed people pleaser. So for me to be called to media, and for me to be called to fulfill this purpose in my life, the biggest downfall would be to have a circle of people who believed in me, because I would not have believed it fully for myself. So I had to be alone in this. I had to be alone and co-creating with the creator in this vision. I needed that. I had to strip, the people around me had to be stripped away from me, because number one, not everybody is meant to go with you. And that's okay. Number two, when the challenges hit you and nobody answers their phones or replies via text, you have to know that that this is what you're supposed to do. Period. You have to be able to encourage yourself. You have to be able to know that the vision and purpose over your life, you have to know it just as well as you know your name. Nobody can come to me and say that your name is not Tashima Ann Jones. You cannot tell me that, because for 35, about to be 36 years, I have known this.
Right.
I have believed this.
You've lived in your truth that entire moment, the whole entire,
So it's like, you can't come to me and tell me that my name is not Tashima Ann Jones. And you cannot come to tell me that I don't run a multi-billion-dollar media company called Tashima Jones Media.
Talk about
You
it.
can't tell me that. And you know what the other part of that is? It doesn't matter if I don't have the $1 billion in my account now. It doesn't matter if I'm not on TV now. It doesn't matter if I don't have the natural things that say this is who I am. It doesn't matter because I was by myself, because I learned to forgive, and because I was so drenched in this reality of it that you can't snatch that out of my mind or my heart. You just can't do it. And having people co-signing for you, that can handicap you. So I truly believe that when you are put in a position where people come against that vision, it's really you just lifting weights.
It is.
Say, oh, okay, I forgive you.
Right.
But I'm still going to continue forward. And with each and every step, you become convinced of your vision. Because that's the other thing. Sometimes we try to convince other people of what we don't even believe ourselves. And it's that cosign that we're looking for in order to believe it. But you just got to know that you know that you know that this is who I was called to be. And regardless of who's around me, who's cheering me on or not, it's going to get done. And it's being done in this process of having the vision board, of building character, of developing humility. And that's a whole nother conversation, because we cannot humble ourselves in and of ourselves. These things where, there's so many people pursuing a vision and they don't even know where they're going to get food from.
Right.
They're pursuing a vision and they're losing people. They're pursuing a vision and they don't even have the strength. They're pursuing a vision, wondering, how am I going to clothe my children? How am I going to pay my bills? It's real life in these streets. And that's why I always say the faith walk is not for the faint at heart. Because believing in something that you do not see so strongly that you act on it, that's not for the faint at heart.
Yeah, and you got to be ready to take the ridicule, because a lot comes with it. With people not believing in your vision, people will actually attack you for having a vision. They will think that, who are you to think that you can go beyond what we're doing? Why do you think you don't need to work the 9 to 5? Why do you think you're special, that you can sing or you can dance or you can write? Whatever it is, people will attack you for stepping out of your comfort zone. So that's another battle you have to face, other than your own self. Getting over your own fears and your own worries and your own insecurities is the people who come at you when you try to step out. And it's, like you said, they don't know any better. You forgive them, but you have to be mindful that this is part of the process. It's part of it. So don't be taken aback. Don't feel rejected. Don't run. No, that's part of it. Say thank you and keep going.
And not only that, I had one person who said, you know what? You remind me of myself. And even though I don't understand, and I'm about to cry, even though I don't understand you, I see myself in you. And I'm going to believe with you, even though I don't understand it. And that stayed with me, because so often people feel like they have to understand your vision in order for them to pray with you,
right,
in order for them to believe and to have faith. And the other aspect of that, so many people are not fulfilling their own purpose in life. They're not taking that leap off of that diving board. They're not believing in the vision and the call over their own lives. So to see somebody else doing it, sometimes it can be an issue of a mirror.
Right.
Like
you're hitting a soft spot for them. It may be a trigger, like, oh my God.
Because it's that same person who knows the vision, who knows the call, who knows the purpose, but they're not walking out on it.
Right.
So to see you walking out on it, it could do one of two things. It could make them feel some type of way because they're not doing it themselves, or it can encourage them.
Right.
And that's the other part of it. Oftentimes, you are placed in the middle of a city, of a family, of an office, of a school. You are planted in the middle of people who do not believe in order for them to believe. And sometimes you have to work in those environments and in those spaces, because the vision is not only for you, the vision is for the people around you. Because 9 times out of 10, you are encouraging, you are inspiring, you are an example to the people that are around you that says, hey, if Tashima can do it, so can I. I ran into a friend the other day and she has her own talk show, and it's on, Facebook Live and everything. And it was so refreshing to see her. And one of the things she told a friend that she was with was saying, you know what? And I don't like applying this to myself, so I'm just going to say Connects, which is a 3-day annual event I host for people, creatives, bringing them together with professionals or people who are just different ranges in those fields. And she said it was attending your workshop 4 years ago that really, really encouraged me to do what it is that I'm doing now. I've run into people who are on film sets, who are working on books, who are doing so many things because of one thing that I did. Because of me walking out on my dreams, it put them in a position to say, well, if I'm here and I'm hearing all of these stories about pursuing your call and pursuing your purpose, and you're actually doing it, I can do it too. So that's the other thing. So much is unsaid, and I could talk a lot, but there's so much that is unsaid to you walking out on your purpose and taking that leap of faith in the middle of people who may not support you, who may not understand you, because you are truly doing something not only for yourself, but for the people who are around you.
And that's big. That's a great point to bring up, because support is needed. And when you don't get it, you got to know what to do with it. And when you do get it, you better receive it and you better take it, because it comes like every blue moon. People come to you and they say, hey, I really appreciate it. But when you get it, it means so much, because it shows that your work is actually playing out the way you intended it to be. So that's a good feeling to have.
Definitely. You just really... I'm just thinking about, it's so much that comes to mind, when we speak about this topic, about vision and about calling, because it's really sometimes we think, oh, my calling is to be a teacher, or my calling is to be a singer or a dancer. Your calling is to be a full human being.
What is that like when you realize that? And all of the titles that you've been chasing your entire life have absolutely no meaning to some extent, but the titles don't really matter. It's so much about you and your character and your identity and your relationship with God. That is really the bulk of what you're supposed to fulfill. What is it like when you realize that and you go, oh my God, I don't even need to be a teacher. I want to be, but that would not make me a better person in that way.
For me, discovering that I'm a human being and not a human doing was a huge thing, because we think that purpose is doing something,
right?
But purpose is being something. And when I was made aware, I always say there's two definitions of who I am. First and foremost, I am a manifested light being.
Ooh.
And the other part is I'm host of LifeClub with Tashima Jones. I'm Justice's mom. I'm friend. I'm sister. I was going to say I'm lover, but yeah, I'm a lover too. So we have to recognize those two spectrums of our humanity,
right?
So once we recognize that we are spiritual beings, we can find fulfillment in being human beings. And purpose is like personality, because my gift is encouragement. I encourage on the subway. I encourage walking down the street. I encourage my son. I encourage sisters. I encourage brothers. I encourage through writing. I encourage through hosting. I encourage at events. So that is my purpose, and that purpose manifests itself in so many different areas of life. The other aspect of it is you get to enjoy the journey. And I just did a new post online where I speak about enjoying the process, because no longer does it become, oh, I can't wait to get my house. Oh, I can't wait to be nationally syndicated. Now it's like, oh my gosh, I'm learning so much every single day just being on this journey of purpose, that I'll get there when I get there. But I'm so happy to be here.
That's the power of now.
I'm so happy just to be here.
Right.
And honestly, my vision and my purpose literally woke me. At one point, it woke me up.
It did.
It woke me up. It gave me something to look forward to. It's the thing that became happiness for me. Because when you go through so much trauma and you go through so many hard times and you lose so many people and things, having a purpose keeps you focused. It keeps you going to the point where purpose becomes you. And it becomes you wherever you are and whatever space you find yourself in. So now it's no longer about, oh, I can't wait until I get there. I'm already here because I'm already on the boat and we're going to go to the other side. So just enjoy the scenic route. Just take it for what it is, and you get to learn so much about yourself. You get to learn your insecurities, and in that same breath, you get to overcome those insecurities. You get to learn your skills and your talents. You get to meet so many amazing people. My journey to WHCR alone, to LifeClub alone, is filled with so many amazing people that I have met just pursuing my purpose, just pursuing that vision. So understanding that it's about the whole self, understanding, you think about elementary school, like, the goal is to graduate, but how many of your lifelong friends do you meet? How many how many things do you learn about yourself? How many, you get to learn to tie your shoes. Like, you're learning so many little things along the way that you look forward to graduation day, but you're appreciating the growth and the development and the people that you're meeting, and also the people that are walking away from you. You can appreciate those things too. Right. You appreciate the open doors and you appreciate the closed doors. I literally wake up excited. And even along the way, if I cry a time or two of something happy or something not so happy, if I fall, whatever happens in between that day, I still go to bed happy. And the cycle continues. I wake up happy every morning. And then, you have your happy moments. You have your learning moments, because I do not believe in mistakes. And then you go to bed happy and you wake up happy. It's because you are living out your purpose. And that purpose is personality. That purpose is relationship. That purpose is developing as a conscious human being. That purpose is love. It's so many things, and those things just manifest themselves into you being an amazing actor, or to you being an amazing speaker or writer. Those things are just the end result of what's already happening on the inside of you.
It's your vision.
Yes.
You manifest it.
Yes.
That was beautiful.
Oh. I'm just like, I finally get to cry, though.
Right.
Because I'm always talking about crying, right? This felt so good. So, yeah, vision is definitely about becoming.
Right.
Lauryn Hill, she had a speech, I forget at which school, and she talked about life is always about knowing, like, when you're the student and when you're the master. So when you're the student and when you're the teacher. And in the valley, you're learning, you're the student, and then you master that one thing and you get to the mountain, and then you go right back down into the valley and you become that student and you're mastering something else. But everything is a collective. Everything is coming together, and you're becoming, and you are watching the screenplay of your life, and that's what I love so much about being conscious, is because you are a part of this amazing story called your life. And when you're conscious of that reality, you are watching this thing that was already written out before you were in your mother's womb, and you're able to, like, be a character in the story, but also see what's happening in the story. And it's just like this wonderful, like, adventurous, fairy tale, if you will. And it all starts with just understanding your vision and coming to that space where you answer your call. You answer your call, and I always recommend that you write it down. You make it plain. You create this vision board. You do whatever it is. You give birth to it in the natural world. Because if it stays just a thought or a prayer inside, it's only going to stay there. Right. It's real. It's a reality, but you have to give birth to it. Just like when you're giving birth, in your womb, like, there's a baby in there. You don't see the baby, but it's brewing. And at some point, that baby has to come out, and it has to take its first breath. And that first breath can be you saying it. The first breath can be you writing it. The first breath can be you drawing a picture of it, creating that vision board. Give your baby an opportunity to breathe and watch it grow and be a part of that process.
That was beautiful, yo. Today was a good show.
Today is a good day.
Yes.
We always have good shows, Sunni.
We do.
OMG. Thank you so much. This has been the first installment of Life Sessions. I am totally looking forward to the next one. Where can everybody find you, Sunni?
You guys can find me on Instagram under Sunny Delight.
Awesome. And you can find me at TashimaJones.com. All of my social media and contact information, including my phone number, which I don't know if I, should have it there. But all of it can be found there. Until next time, remember your greatness. Talk soon. I am Tashima Jones, and you've been listening to Life Club. Thank you for tuning in.